I almost vanished into thin air one night, and my so-called friends were the ones holding the map. Back in 2016, I was living alone in Tampa, Florida. I was 24 years old, and I had built a quiet little life for myself. I worked a 9-to-5 job, came home, watched Netflix, and went to bed. I was a total homebody. Going out on a Friday night meant ordering pizza and staying in my sweatpants. That was my comfort zone, and I liked it there. A coworker named Sarah changed all of that. She was about 8 years younger than me, full of energy, always talking about the latest clubs and bars. She started begging me to go out with her and another girl from work, Priya. Every single day for weeks, she would come to my cubicle and say, "Come on, you never do anything fun. Just one night, please?" I kept saying no. I made up excuses. I had laundry, I was tired, my stomach hurt. But Sarah was persistent, relentless actually. She would not let it go. And after about 3 weeks of this, I finally caved. I told Sarah I would join them for a night out the following Saturday. The look on her face was pure excitement, or at least that's what I thought it was. The weekend approached faster than I wanted. On Saturday afternoon, Sarah showed up at my apartment door. She was already dressed up, wearing a tight black dress and too much perfume. She wanted to leave her car in my parking lot and have me drive. That immediately stressed me out. I hated being responsible for other people's transportation. I hated driving in areas I didn't know. I had lived in Tampa for 4 years, but I barely left my neighborhood. The farthest I usually drove was 4 miles to the nearest Walmart. If I went any further than that, I was completely lost without my GPS. I told Sarah this. I said, "You know, I'm terrible with directions." She just laughed and said, "Don't worry, I'll navigate." That evening, we got into my old sedan and headed toward Priya's apartment. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. I remember thinking it was beautiful. I remember thinking this might actually be fun. How wrong I was. When we arrived at Priya's complex, she wasn't quite ready yet, so we went inside and waited. Her apartment smelled like vanilla candles. She had pictures of her family on the walls. It felt normal, safe. We sat on her couch and made small talk for about 20 minutes. Priya apologized for the delay, said she couldn't find her favorite earrings. Sarah told her to hurry up. I just sat there, already feeling a little tired. Once Priya was finally ready, all 3 of us piled back into my car. Sarah sat in the passenger seat and pulled out her phone to navigate. Priya sat in the back, texting someone. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Looking back, I wonder who she was texting. I wonder if it was the friend who bought us those drinks. We eventually ended up at a busy club downtown. The line was wrapped around the building, but Sarah knew someone at the door. We walked right in. The music was loud, thumping through my chest. The lights were low and pulsing. Bodies pressed against each other on the dance floor. I immediately felt overwhelmed. This was not my world. We found a small, high-top table near the back corner. It was slightly quieter there. We ordered a round of drinks. I got a vodka cranberry, something simple. Sarah and Priya got the same. We clinked glasses and drank. For a few minutes, it was actually nice. I started to relax. Maybe this was good for me. Maybe I needed to get out more. We hadn't been there long when Sarah suddenly said, "Hey, I'll be right back. I see someone I know." She grabbed Priya's arm and said, "Come with me." They both got up and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. I remember feeling a sharp stab of annoyance. Why had they begged me to come out for weeks, only to leave me alone within the first 20 minutes? It didn't make sense. But I shrugged it off and sipped my drink, watching the dancers on the floor. A few minutes passed, then a few more. I started checking my phone. I was about to text Sarah when I saw them walking back toward me. They were both smiling, wide smiles, almost too wide. Sarah was carrying a glass in each hand. "My friend bought us a round," she announced, handing me a glass of something dark. Whiskey, maybe. I didn't ask. I trusted her. She was my coworker. We had eaten lunch together almost every day for a year. Why would I not trust her? So I took the drink and I drank it. Sarah and Priya drank theirs too. We stood there talking for a while. Then Sarah said her friend wanted to buy us another round, and another. I believe we had 2 rounds each from this mysterious friend. I never saw his face. Sarah said he was in the VIP section. I didn't question it. It wasn't long after the 3rd drink that something felt terribly wrong. The room didn't spin like I was drunk. It was different. A wave of thick, unsettling dread washed over me. My limbs felt heavy. My thoughts became sluggish, like wading through honey. I turned to Sarah and grabbed her wrist. I said, "We have to go, now. I feel really strange." She looked at Priya. Priya looked at Sarah. They exchanged a glance that I didn't understand at the time. Sarah nodded and said, "Okay, let's get you home." The next few hours are a complete blur. I don't remember leaving the club. I don't remember walking to my car. I don't remember getting in. The first thing I recall clearly is sitting in the driver's seat of my car, parked outside Priya's apartment complex. The engine was running. The headlights were on. I was slumped against the steering wheel, drool on my chin. I heard voices outside the car, Sarah and Priya. They were standing near the trunk, talking in low voices. I couldn't make out every word, but some combination of phrases cut through the fog. Something about waiting, something about the guys being ready, something about me not remembering anything in the morning. Those words, whatever they were, instantly triggered my fight-or-flight response. I didn't need to understand everything they were saying. My gut knew I was in danger. My body knew before my brain did. I sat up straight, slammed the car into drive, and sped away. I heard Sarah shout my name behind me. I didn't look back. Whatever had been slipped into my drink was powerful. I am not a lightweight. I had only consumed 3 club drinks, which are often watered down. There was no reason for me to be in that state unless something else was in my system. I was driving all over Tampa, unable to focus, unable to think clearly. I just kept repeating to myself, "Get home, get home, get home." But my mind was completely scrambled. Every street looked familiar and foreign at the same time. I missed turns. I ran a red light. I nearly hit a curb. At one point, I stopped at an intersection and just sat there staring at the traffic light, forgetting what the colors meant. That's when 2 figures appeared at my window. Dark shapes, male silhouettes. And then someone was pulling my car door open. I was in total shock. My car doors automatically lock the second I put my vehicle in gear. I still have no idea how they managed to open it. 2 strange men were actively pulling the door open, their fingers gripping the handle, their faces hidden in shadow. The sight of them snapped me out of the mental fog just enough. I hit the gas pedal as hard as I could. The tires screeched. The car lunged forward. I heard a ripping sound, and then the door slammed shut on its own. I didn't look back. I just drove. After that moment of sheer terror, the memory vanishes again. The next thing I remember, I was sitting in my car parked near a row of quiet suburban homes. The street was lined with oak trees. Spanish moss hung from the branches. It was completely silent. I was staring blankly at my phone, trying desperately to figure out how to operate it. But the drug had made me so paranoid and confused that the simplest action felt like calculus. Tapping felt like rocket science. I looked around the car. I looked out the windows. I saw no one. I convinced myself I was safe for the moment. I reclined the driver's seat as far back as it would go, curled up into a ball, and fell into a deep, drug-induced sleep. It wasn't restful. It wasn't peaceful. It was just darkness. I woke up around 5 a.m. with the drug finally wearing off. My mouth was dry. My head was palming. My clothes smelled of cigarette smoke and cheap perfume. I was able to use my phone now. I pulled up the GPS, typed in my address, and drove straight home. I collapsed into bed immediately, still in my clothes from the night before.
I woke up again around 11 a.m. to 20 missed calls. Most of them were from Sarah. A few were from a concerned friend who had heard I went out. When I called Sarah back, she was frantic, demanding, "Where did you go last night? Why did you leave like that? We were so worried about you." I didn't have the energy to be polite. I said, "What do you mean, why did I leave? Your friend spiked my drink, and I wasn't sticking around to find out what was going to happen next." There was a pause on the line, a long pause. Then Sarah let slip a chilling sentence. She said, "The spiked drinks weren't even meant for you." That casual admission was all the confirmation I needed. She was involved. She knew about the drinks. She knew what was supposed to happen to me that night. I hung up the phone. She called back 3 more times. I didn't answer. She texted me saying she would come by later to pick up her car.
Before she arrived, the memory of those 2 guys opening my car door returned with jarring clarity. Had it been a hallucination? Was it real? I went outside to check my car, and there it was. The entire plastic casing of my driver's side door handle was completely missing. The metal underneath was exposed. There were scratches around the edges where someone had held on tight. Whoever had been holding on to that handle when I sped away must have ripped it right off. The physical damage confirmed that the terror I felt wasn't a delusion. Someone had tried to get into my car while I was drugged, driving alone, and completely vulnerable. I don't know who they were. I don't know if they were the ones Sarah was waiting for, but I know they weren't trying to help me. I was furious that Sarah had put me in such a predicament. I was furious at myself for trusting her. I never spoke to her again. I switched shifts at work. I avoided her in the hallway. She tried to apologize once, said it was a misunderstanding, said I was overreacting. I walked away. The moral of this story is simple, and it's the only reason I'm still here today. Always trust your instincts. Your gut feelings are almost always right. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. You don't need to understand why. You just need to leave. I was 15, living in a busy beach town in a small European country. Tourists flood the place in summer, but it gets eerily quiet once school starts. The main draw is a long stretch of beach that leads to rolling sand dunes. You can wander in there, but it's hard to get truly lost. Walk 15 minutes any direction and you'll hit a path or the parking lot. During the day, it's full of families. At night, that's different. This happened a few weeks after school restarted. I'm in the local youth group. We have different age brackets: otters for ages 5 to 8, foxes for 9 to 12, rangers for 12 to 15, and explorers for 16 to 18. We meet every Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. This night was the Rangers' first meeting after summer break. Tradition says we gather at the dunes parking lot. The Rangers hike to the biggest dune, nicknamed Old Baldy. The older Rangers help the new 12-year-olds climb it. The Rangers set off while us explorers practiced first aid for 45 minutes. We did well and decided we had time to catch up. The faster walkers, including me, reached the dunes first. The tide was high, so we couldn't take the beach route to Old Baldy. We had to cut through the smaller hills. My friend Liam and I wanted to find the Rangers. We yelled back to our leader, and 2 others, Caleb and Finn, joined us. The rest were further back, so they split into pairs as checkpoints. So me, Liam, Caleb, and Finn ran into the near-total darkness. We tripped over roots, slid down sandy slopes, and scraped our legs on sharp grass. The moon showed us the Rangers' silhouettes way farther than we thought. We stopped on a ridge to catch our breath. We saw 2 other explorers in the distance and waved. They waved back. I was closing my water bottle when Finn hissed, "Shh!" He looked nervous, but then shrugged it off. We asked why. He said, "Did you hear that rustling?" We hadn't. We blamed the wind, even though the night was dead still. After another 10 minutes of hard hiking, we reached the Rangers. We said hi,
welcomed the new kids, and realized we had to turn back immediately. It was pitch black, no flashlights. We tumbled down Old Baldy and ran back toward the ridge where we'd seen the other explorers. They were still there. We felt a wave of relief. Finally, we climbed up to them. I'll call them Marcus and Elena. Marcus is a big guy, 6'2", built like a wrestler. Elena is quiet but sharp. Even without a light, I saw panic on Marcus's face. Elena was trembling. "What's wrong?" Liam asked. Marcus locked eyes with me. "Were you walking alone down in that clearing?" he asked, pointing to a flat area where people usually drink or smoke. "No, I've been with the group. Why?" I replied, my pulse skyrocketing. We all realized it at the same second. You could feel the temperature drop. Elena and I saw a man in a black hoodie circling that clearing. He was dodging us for a while. We thought it was you at first, but it was too weird. Marcus continued, "When we waved at you from the other ridge, we hadn't seen him yet. But the minute you guys left that spot, the same guy was standing exactly where you had been, staring after you." A cold shiver drilled into my spine. Finn must have heard that man moving in the bushes earlier. In the dark dunes, we weren't alone. We were being hunted. There are 6 of us now, safety in numbers. We hurried toward the clearing where the man was seen. "He didn't even have a flashlight," Elena whispered. Marcus and Elena ran ahead to warn the Rangers leaders. The other 4 of us stood watch in the open clearing. It was terrifyingly quiet. We expected this man, alone in the dark, without a light, to explode out of the shadows any second. Luckily, he didn't. We rushed back toward the parking lot, warning the rest of our group on the way. We were almost out of the dunes when one of the younger Rangers screamed. That set everyone into a sprint. Liam and I reached the crying kid first. "What happened?" He just pointed to my left. There he was, the same man, standing on a ridge, just watching us. Liam shouted, "Everyone run! I saw a knife in his hand!" The older kids carried the smaller ones back to the lot. I never saw his face. I don't want to. Sometimes the scariest face is the one you never see. If these stories made your skin crawl, hit like for more true horror on Winds of Thought. And tell me in the comments, what's the one sound that would make you run without looking back?